If there's one thing on the internet that always just tickles me pink, it's a wholesome game that has a toxic community. Now, Animal Crossing as a whole is not that. I've seen much worse. But let's take a little look at the @AnimalCrossing Twitter account. As of right now, this is their latest tweet, just reminding people that Halloween is coming up and to look out for seasonal items. Well, that seems fine. I don't really see how that would warrant any anger.
If you ever feel useless, remember that this account still tweets. It has been 2 years since the 2.0.0 update.
I am once again asking for Animal Crossing content.
Okay, now update the game. Would rather an update that had new stuff. Instead, we get a pre-programmed post with nothing new. Can't wait for the next Nintendo system in 2024. Here's hoping Nintendo gives us more care with the Animal Crossing brand and more than one Animal Crossing game comes. Until then, Rerun Central it is. Why does Pocket Camp get new stuff but Acne doesn't?
Now that's just one tweet. If you want to sit down and read them all, you'll find many, many more like it. But it seems like the collective summaries of these complaints can be broken down as follows. Animal Crossing hasn't received an update since November of 2021. The existing game is underwhelming. Pocket Camp, which was released about 6 years ago, is more heavily supported than New Horizons, which came out only 3 years ago. This is, from what I gather, what most of these comments towards the fictional dog running a Twitter account that is not listening to you is getting at. Let's call these the big three, and we're gonna dissect why you're being silly to complain about them on Twitter or any other social media site. For starters, nobody's listening to you. Nobody important anyway. But look, I like screaming my complaints into the void as much as anyone else. But not only do your complaints fall on deaf ears, they're also nonsensical. First of the big three complaints is about how Animal Crossing hasn't received an update in almost 2 years as of making this video. Which isn't wrong, outside of minor bug fixes and patches. The last big update was the simultaneous release of 2.0 and the Happy Home Paradise DLC. Now this has led to a lot of people saying that Nintendo has abandoned the game. And I use that word specifically, abandoned, because I see it a lot in this context. This tweet was from a year ago, when people were already calling it abandoned. Just remembered how Nintendo abandoned Animal Crossing after like a year. WTF was that about? IMO, it's kinda whack that they don't update Animal Crossing anymore, at least for seasonal stuff. Or Nook's Cranny just staying the same size apparently? They pour so much love into their weird phone game and just abandon New Horizons completely. Wow, that one actually touched on all three of the big complaints. Well done. Anyway, you get my point. People feel as though Animal Crossing is an abandoned franchise. And all that I have to say to you is... Do you want to know what an abandoned franchise really is? If the threshold of an abandoned franchise is not having had a mainline release since March 20th, 2020, then here is a list of franchises that have been abandoned by Nintendo. Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, Luigi's Mansion, Super Mario Maker, any Yoshi game, Captain Toad, Mario Tennis, any Donkey Kong game, Mario & Luigi, Miitopia, Star Fox, Nintendogs, Excite, Punch-Out, Kid Icarus, Rhythm Heaven, Sin and Punishment, Wario Land, F-Zero, Earthbound, Pilot Wings, Ken Griffey Jr.'s Slugfest. Now, if you want to sit here and tell me, well, who the hell is waiting for a new Pilot Wings game? That's fine. But I promise you that there are fans of many of those series that I listed above that are a hell of a lot less fortunate than we are as Animal Crossing fans. And this is just series that Nintendo has either developed or published. Don't even get me started on other consoles games. If I was, for example, an Earthbound fan and I saw someone saying this shit, I'd give you a knuckle sandwich. Plus, if the threshold for abandonment is having not had an update since November 5th, 2021, the release of the 2.0 update and Happy Home Paradise DLC, we can also add stuff like Paper Mario and Mario Party. Now, I wouldn't consider those series to be abandoned. All this talk of abandonment really reeks of people who weren't around when we had to wait 7 years between the release of Animal Crossing New Leaf and Animal Crossing New Horizons. New Leaf was released June 9th, 2013, about a half a year after it was released in Japan, and then we had to wait until March 20th, 2020 for another one. Where were you bitching and moaning about it on Twitter then? I'm really glad that New Horizons has been as successful as it is. It's brought a lot of new people to the series who have never played before, and I welcome you with open arms. But you have to be warned, This is just how it is. Animal Crossing has never had 2 games on the same system. There's 2 on the GameCube, but Animal Forest E Plus was just an enhanced version of Animal Crossing, not a whole separate game. After that, we got 1 on the DS, 1 on the Wii, 1 on the 3DS, and now 1 on the Switch. And the only one other than New Horizons that received major updates after release was New Leaf, getting a design-focused spin-off in 2015 and the Welcome Amiibo update in 2016. A Happy Home release and a major content update a couple years after the base game. Where does that sound familiar? The point is that there's no precedent that indicates that we're going to get any more. Nintendo has said as much. Last major free content update. Can you read? Oh, but what about a paid update? No, you already got one. There's no precedent or indication of getting another one. It's over. Let it go. You know, almost 2 years of support is more than what most games get. Not every game can be Minecraft, which is getting updates 14 years after it was released to the public, and if that's the standard that you hold modern games to, then I'm sorry, but you are going to be sorely disappointed. Now that being said, some people have been quite vocal about the quality of the updates that we did get over that time, and even in the final stage that the game is in now, people have expressed a lack of satisfaction in the completion of the game. Which is point number 2. The existing game is underwhelming. I don't necessarily disagree. I think that there is a lot of things about the game that could be a lot better. Why can't Nook's Cranny upgrade more than once? Why didn't Tortimer Island minigames return? Why are villagers and NPCs so one-dimensional? Those are my biggest complaints anyway. But as we've already established, the game is done. We can complain all we want, but nobody is going to grant our wishes. Which is not to say that you can't complain at all, or that you shouldn't complain at all. But if you think that this is productive, then you're wasting your time. I'd also like to point out that Animal Crossing New Horizons has outsold every other Animal Crossing game, with 7.2 million copies to spare. What does that tell you? I interpret it personally as Nintendo has a winning formula. Sales figures have proven that what we want is obviously not as conducive to a successful game as what we might think. We don't, unfortunately, always know what is best. As much as we would like to think that we know the best direction for the series, we can really only speak for ourselves. For every one person that vocalizes their complaints about the game, there's probably a number of people who praise it for aspects like town design, home customization, dialogue, flower breeding, many other things. And if you can honestly take a deep look into this game and tell me that you're disappointed, then you need to realize that you're probably in the minority. And finally, a lot of people are very quick to point out that Animal Crossing Pocket Camp, after almost 6 years of being released, is still receiving content updates, while New Horizons updates stopped coming before it was even 2 years old. Now, I don't know enough about the programming aspect of game development to tell you confidently that developing a game for a console versus developing a game for a mobile system is like apples to oranges, because I don't know that. What I do know about them is that the monetization aspect of them is much, much different. Really, New Horizons and Pocket Camp are only similar in their namesake. If you're trying to tell me that they're similar in regards to their core gameplay development, you're off your rocker. New Horizons is a game. You pay for it, that's it. You're done. If you want to, you can pay for the DLC. Whether you do or not, though, the game will never ask more of you monetarily. It doesn't work that way. Pocket Camp, on the other hand, is free. Or free to start, according to Nintendo, whose former CEO, Satoru Iwata, was against using the term free-to-play because it felt insincere. Well, now fast forward a couple years, and Pocket Camp is released on mobile devices in most parts of the world, free to download at the cost of a consistent stream of advertising to get you to purchase the in-game currency with your real currency. This in-game currency is used to purchase the items that are released as part of these updates that are still being released to this day. Now let me ask you something. Would you prefer it if New Horizons was still receiving content updates like Pocket Camp? And by that I mean as frequently as Pocket Camp and in the same vein as Pocket Camp, where new items get added but they're only accessible if you spend money on in-game currency? No, you wouldn't, because you already paid for the game. Do you see the discrepancy between the two? Pocket Camp is still getting updates because that's how it makes money. New Horizons has already got your money. That's the trade-off you agreed to when you purchased a new copy of the game. They're two completely different models of game development. Pocket Camp is more similar to Overwatch, Fortnite, Genshin Impact in regards to its developmental process than it is to New Horizons. Except instead of buying skins for your player or for your guns, you buy items to decorate your campsite. It's functionally the same thing. If Pocket Camp stops updating, its revenue stream stops. As opposed to New Horizons, which will sell copies for years before its revenue stops completely. They are two completely different business models. And whatever you think of each respective business model doesn't matter. I'm personally not a fan of predatory advertising of vanity goods in my video games, and that's why I don't play Pocket Camp. But Nintendo doesn't give a shit about what I think or what you think either. Be that in regards to your feeling of abandonment over New Horizons, your disappointment about what it offers in-game, or the fact that it seems like they care more about their mobile moneymaker that is Pocket Camp versus New Horizons. I'm being brutally honest when I tell you that they don't care about you, nor are they listening to you. Nintendo in particular is worse at this than most other game companies. And it's a reality that you have to accept that while they make fantastic games, they also care more about their bottom line than what you think that they could be doing better. Hi, I'm not going to become a rant YouTuber. Normal programming will resume pretty soon, okay? This has just been something I've been wanting to talk about for a while, just something that's been on my mind lately. I hope that it didn't make you too mad. Remember not to take me too seriously, although I think that I made at least a couple good points, and hopefully it makes you think a little bit. Anyway, yeah, sorry, this isn't going to be a normal thing. I just wanted to put it out there, okay? Love you, bye.